So rare is it to find a game that ties into a movie series or movie franchise that truly captures the essence and DNA of what makes that franchise so great. And thankfully, Aliens vs. Predator, or Aliens vs. Predator 2010, has such a moment that feels like it jumps straight out of Aliens, and that is in the first mission of the Marine campaign. Club Eden, also known as Club Hive, is likely one of the most atmospheric, scary, and intense places to find in Aliens vs. Predator 2010. Players will walk into Club Eden only to find that all of their Marine allies that they just were being contacted by are actually slaughtered, and the rest of the club is encased in xenomorph hive webbing and all sorts of goo and disgusting things, and it truly shines as an example of an Aliens vs. Predator property in that we get both the hanging bodies of skinned Marines a la Predator and the hive that is so synonymous with Aliens. It's almost unbelievable that this section of the game actually comes from the very first level of the Marines campaign, as it feels like such a highlight that could have been done later on in the game and would have been just as deserved, but it really kicks off the campaign on such a high note that it's hard to ignore that the rest of the campaign falls a little flat compared to that level. Not to say that the Marine campaign or any of the rest of the game is bad at all, not by any measure. It's just that it does such a good job of emulating what Aliens is as a film that it feels like the rest of the game is just a little more tone-deaf comparatively. As if the intimidation of being in a hive alongside the hanging bodies wasn't enough, you now also are forced to fight off waves of xenomorphs as the Club Eden theme starts playing and the strobe lights get to blinding you and also illuminating the area just enough for you to see xenomorphs starting to crawl out of corners and come for you. Granted, the game doesn't have xenomorphs rush you all at once. Of course, it's a balancing thing, but it's such an atmospheric set piece to have in the first place, and while it may seem lame to some to have this techno EDM playing while you're blasting xenomorphs, I think it's honestly kind of really fitting, and it's really unique to this game. I really wish that we could have seen more moments in this game that were like this, as this is probably my favorite moment in this entire game as far as the Marine campaign goes. This moment, alongside the level where you're being stalked by the Praetorian alien, really signify how great an Aliens game can be. Aliens Colonial Marines, of course, as we all know, completely failed on almost every regard as both an Aliens game and just a game in general. Alien Isolation, as amazing as it is more of an Alien game than anything else, and it succeeds in doing that. I just really wish that we could get a game that was completely Alien Central that did this level of intensity like Aliens vs. Predator 2010 did, and Aliens vs. Predator games that came before it. So if you're looking for an Aliens experience that really is honestly top tier, pick Aliens vs. Predator 2010 and play this level. Play this section. Play it just for this section. It's honestly, in my opinion, kind of perfect. It has a rising action, a climax, and even somewhat of a resolution in that you go and are finally safe for a little bit. You get to see other Marines, and for a moment you think, okay, well, maybe the mission is kind of coming to a close. And then it continues. It gets worse for your situation, and you finally get to the end of it, and you're completely alone, and you're surrounded by xenomorphs, and, well, that gets a little further off from Club Eden, but I'll always treasure this moment in gaming. It's probably one of my favorite bits of gaming, period.